Hey girl, if you're down with it, I'd like to find your lost river.
That darn movie show.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's Clarice here. So, I'm a pretty big Ryan Gosling fan because, I'm a human being who lives on this planet. And as you may know, his directorial debut, Lost River, is out now on VOD and in select cinemas. It actually came out last Friday, so I know I'm a little late with this review, but I just had one of those weeks where, you have so much to do that you do absolutely nothing. Now, I was coming into this movie with really mixed expectations. I don't know if you guys have been following the sort of all the reviews for this movie, but last year at Cannes, it got trashed. And I mean trashed. Since then, the sort of critical reception has evened out a little bit. A few people have sort of jumped in to defend it, but honestly, I didn't know what to expect. Was I gonna love it? Was I gonna hate it? Honestly, I don't think I feel strongly either way about this movie. I really believe that Gosling is capable of amazing things, but at the same time, at the end of watching Lost River, I just had this feeling of wow, I hope he makes a second movie, and then I hope with this second movie he just 100% trusts his subconscious, because he does surreal so well. He can create this completely nightmarish world, but then it almost feels like he panicked. He just went oh god, I need to make this movie be about something. It has to have a message, otherwise this movie won't be legit and it won't be well respected and people will laugh at me. And I know that is me completely overanalyzing the whole film, and I have no idea what Gosling's motivations were, but I think I just feel this movie would have been better if he didn't overthink it so much, if he just sort of trusted his instincts and went full on surreal and didn't look back for a second. Because there's just these moments littered throughout the movie that feel really false to me. There's a shot of an abandoned school and it has a sign saying, "No child will be left behind." And there's a speech that the taxi driver makes, how he's talking about how everyone comes to America to find a better life, and it's those moments just feel so forced, especially in a movie that is already this surreal. And I just wish that Gosling wouldn't feel the need to so transparently vocalize those ideas about poverty and decay and the failure of the American dream, because I think all that stuff is already there. I think the plot in itself sort of communicates those ideas effectively enough on its own, because it's about a single mother who is struggling to pay for her mortgage, so she has to work in this creepy underground club entertaining rich people. And I think that's effective on its own. It doesn't really need to have extra meaning put on top of that. And there are definitely moments that are way more subtle and way more effective as well. Just seeing a red painted D on the door of a house that's about to be demolished, for example, or seeing the lamppost sticking out of the waters of a flooded town. Those were the moments that really got me. I thought those are so striking and so powerful in a way. But the scenes that I loved the most, and I sort of wish the whole movie was just this, were all the scenes that took place in the underground club. And I know this movie has gotten a lot of comparisons to David Lynch and Harmony Korine and Mario Bava's Black Sunday, and yeah, you can definitely see those influences there, just in the way that I think anything that is that visually striking is going to feel like it's paying tribute to something. But at the same time, all of my favourite moments felt like pure Ryan Gosling, because I am a huge fan of his band, Dead Man's Bones. They've only released a single album, and I found out about them completely independently. I was listening to them for a couple of weeks before I decided to look them up on Wikipedia, and I was like, oh my god, Ryan Gosling, what are you doing here? And if you've never listened to their music before, it's basically a very macabre yet romantic mixture between New Orleans funeral jazz and Halloween themed music. And like, I know that sounds crazy, but I don't know, I just love it. And there's also this like sort of really morbid sense of humor about it. Like, he gets this choir of children to dress up like little monsters to sing on the album, and it's so good. It's so good. And so that is what I think of when I think of like the Ryan Gosling aesthetic. And there are definitely moments in this movie that reminded me of his band, and they were all my favorite moments in this movie. Like, for example, I think my favourite scene is when we first get introduced to Eva Mendes's character, who she's playing basically someone who works at the club, who's one of their star performers. And the first shot of her is this reveal where a coffin, like, falls down, and then it's like her shadow against the spotlight. And that whole scene of her onstage performance is just so perfect to me, because it's like really gothic and it's gory, and it's sort of this twisted little parody of our obsession, our weird obsession with torture porn. And I think Ryan Gosling is really great at that kind of stuff, and I just wish that entire scene could have been the whole movie. But I think the reaction to this movie has been kind of ridiculous. Like, this movie has its problems, but people were so pumped to just like rip into this Hollywood actor vanity project that they just attacked at the first signs of trouble. And the only way this movie was really going to be accepted was if it was like a masterpiece. And it's not a masterpiece, but there's so much here that's so interesting and so daring, and I think it's just a case of a promising new director still trying to find his voice. I think as well it is worth taking into account the fact that when we're talking about a directorial debut here, I think we're literally talking about the first time that Ryan Gosling has ever stepped behind a camera, because I don't think, to my knowledge, he's not done like any shorts or like commercial work or music videos. And you know, with other directors, when we say it's their directorial debut, I mean, they've already been directing for years. Like, they will have done shorts, they'll have done commercial work and music videos, or they will at least had some amount of practice at film school. And yeah, I think definitely the question there is why Gosling decided to go straight into a feature film instead of sort of testing the waters out on something smaller first. But I think it's sort of unfair to completely dismiss this movie because he made that one mistake. Because I do think like the majority of the problems with this movie come from the fact that Gosling is still a director trying to find his path, but he's made the mistake of doing it in a feature film. And I think also that would explain maybe his hesitance in committing to this sort of more surreal nature of this film, and also in some of the problems I had with the camera work, which at times kind of felt a little bit all over the place. It didn't make too much sense to me, because like 1 second it would be handheld and then the next it's static, and then suddenly the camera's like turned on its side. And I think that's kind of stuff that you would learn from experience, like when to use certain shots and when not to use certain shots. I think that's something you can only really learn over time because it's so instinctual. So yeah, I'd still recommend this movie, even with those teething problems, because I think there's enough that's interesting about this movie and about the atmosphere that it builds, especially if you're a fan of stuff that's a little on the macabre side, a little weird. And I am so mad that this movie got such a kicking at Cannes, because now I am worried that Gosling isn't going to want to make a second feature, because this movie just got sort of unceremoniously dumped into a limited theatre run and then just straight on VOD. And you know, this movie doesn't deserve that. It deserves so much better. And I really hope that he doesn't get put off and he does make a second movie that is just full on surreal, just a fully weird ass movie about like skeletons or something. That would be awesome. So if you've had a chance to see Lost River, I would love to know what you guys thought, what you think Ryan Gosling's second directorial feature should be about. You can let me know by commenting down below, or you can tweet at me here. And also, if we've had fun today, if you want to come and hang out and talk about movies, Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys soon. Bye!